welcome TallyLab.
Thank you. Hello. I don't know how I got the short straw to go last here, but all of the other apps were really awesome, and now I'm really nervous. OK, so I'm Jordyn, and I'm the, what am I? A co-founder and CEO of TallyLab, which is a privacy-first data diary app for you. But it's also for me, because a few years ago, I was having a bunch of, like a random assortment of weird symptoms. Perhaps some of you can relate. And I thought I had some hunches about what was causing them. But I kind of couldn't really nail it down. And I thought, OK, maybe I'm having a food allergy. Or maybe I'm not sleeping enough. Maybe it's one thing, like a medication. Or maybe it's a bunch of different things. I figured if I could track all of those things, the symptoms, and then the things I thought might be causing them, in my pocket computer that we all have, that maybe I could answer the question. So I went to the App Store, because I'm no fool. I do not want to make an app. Making an app is really hard. And there were a lot of apps in the App Store for me, actually. There were food apps, and mood apps, and fitness apps, and sleep apps. And there's a lot of apps in the App Store to track some stuff. I don't know if you guys knew this. But there's not an app, really, to track everything in one place. So I was like, you know what? Maybe that's OK. I'll just download 10 apps. Whoa, there's like a fruit fly. Maybe I'll just download a zillion apps, and then I'll just export the data from it when I have enough data. And I'll put it in a spreadsheet, and it'll be cool. Except you can't actually do that, because these apps make their money from your data, and they don't want to make it easy for you to get your data out of them. In fact, they don't actually want to make it possible for you to get your data out of them often. Although I was just talking to the Holler High people about how that's kind of illegal in Europe now. So the tide is changing. But it was hard to do at the time, and kind of impossible to do. So I needed something that would let me track anything and chart anything, and would keep my data private. And I couldn't find it. So I decided to make it. And it's TallyLab. So this isn't really a demo. This is just screenshots, because I didn't want to deal with plugging the phone in and switching it up. But it is live, and this is exactly what it looks like. So I made these screenshots, actually, from the app. Anyway, this is what happens when you start using it. There's a bunch of sort of template categories that you can install a bunch of trackers for. Trackers in TallyLab are called tallies, because it's cute. So you could install a bunch of mood tallies, or food tallies, or medications, or whatever. You can also do custom stuff. And it gives you this little screen that's like, OK, which one of these things do you actually, here's like 100 moods. Do you actually want to install all of them, or do you want to toggle them off? And then, boom, you can start tracking them. If you are happy, you press the plus button, and then it's like, oh, OK, cool, you were happy at this time. And it just records the time that you were happy. You can also set up tallies to be timers. So say you're curious about how much time you're spending on Twitter. Not a problem I have at all. This is not a use case that would have anything to do with me. And then when you press the play button, it starts timing you. And then when you press stop, it tells you how long you were on Twitter. 5.5 hours, no big deal. That's not that big of a time to be on Twitter, guys. OK, so cool. Oh, look at that. That's supposed to be this really cool green check mark, and it didn't happen. OK, wow. Well, whatever. OK, so chart anything. So then there's an area in the app called the correlator that will let you create a chart out of anything you're tracking. So you can basically say, all right, show me the times I spent on Twitter, and then show me my happiness. Maybe it's not so awesome. But we also, every single thing you tally has its own little stats screen as well. So we try to be smart about what you're tracking and figure out what you might want to see. Sometimes we're smarter than other times. This is actually my runs tally. And I think I did the screenshot a while ago, because I think there's more miles and more hours. But I have apparently tracked 218 runs. And that is a total of 489 miles and 84 hours of running, which is a lot of running. OK, cool. So track anything, chart anything, check, check. What about keeping your data private? So we have an underlying technology that makes TallyLab HIPAA compliant, and actually GDPR compliant, out of the box, which is a combination of end-to-end encryption and peer-to-peer communication. So basically, we encrypt your data locally, and then when we back it up, it's just a big brick of encrypted data. Like, I don't know what is in there. You could be tracking drug deals, or like murders. I don't know anything about it. I actually don't know anything about you, because I don't store any personally identifiable information about you either. So go nuts. If you've got some like secret or horrible ailment you don't want anyone to know about, they're not going to know about it. Cool. Track anything, chart anything, keep my data private. Got it. And that's it. You can go here to start using it, and please use it, and please give us feedback about it. If you also want to fund us, I will not say no. But yeah, but primarily we're really looking for users, and we're looking for feedback. So tell us what features you like and which ones you don't, and which ones you want to see us build next, because if you tell me, you get bumped right to the top of that feature list, because no one else is telling me. So, okay, questions? Look how spicy that green is, my God. That'll make your eyeballs like vibrate out of your head. It is a free app for now. We are, like many people, adding premium features. It's a freemium model. So there will be extra features that will cost money maybe someday, but for now it's free. Anybody else? Yes?
When you talk about doing correlation, you put up both charts and a visual one, are you doing any statistical analysis?
Yes. Eventually. Right now, it's, it was easy to implement that. It's a little bit harder to do the analysis, especially locally. But we are working on that. And eventually, it will actually push insights to you. So if you got enough data that we can run some smart stuff on it, you'll get a little push notification. It's like, hey, we found a correlation in your data. Maybe this is something to look into. Yes?
Seems like a very technology-driven type of app. What can you say about the technology itself, underlying architectures?
Right. So it's actually super interesting, and I could get very dorky about it, but I'll try to be brief. So the underlying technology is peer-to-peer in basis. It's built on something called IPFS, which stands for Interplanetary File System. So the data store is a peer-to-peer network. And our database layer that sits on top of that data store is called OrbitDB, and it's basically an eventually consistent distributed database, which allows us to do some really cool things in the very near future, like collaborative tallies. So if say you're co-parenting and you want to track some stuff about your kids, you can basically both parents can contribute to the tally, but the data never goes to a server. It's just shared peer-to-peer between your phones, so you don't have to worry about that data ever getting intercepted or hacked. So it enables a lot of really cool stuff. We think we're hopeful. The CTO actually works for the company that makes OrbitDB, and we're really hopeful that we can be kind of like a star example of how to use this stuff in the wild, because it would be great if more of the internet were structured this way. Yes?
One thing that was really interesting to me is how simple you can tag something. So happy, sad. So
Yeah.
I get that. What about food? That's one of those things. All
Yeah.
those food apps in there, they want you to write a dissertation
I know,
on what
right?
food is.
You're right. So like the whole problem about tracking this stuff, if any of you have tried to do this, is that it's just a lot of work. And you're like, man, I just want to like mark that something happened. I don't want to write a dissertation about it. I just want, right? So we're trying to make the templates really easy to install. With the food collection, it's basically like a bunch of food. We tag each food for you, so it's like, this is a vegetable, this is whatever. You can filter quickly. We do want to like add some calorie counting stuff in there, so you don't have to enter the calorie, which is also really annoying if you've ever tried to do that. But it is like, there's going to be a handful that are super important to you, right? And so you'll take the time to set those up how you want them. And then cool, all you got to do is press that button that it happened. And we aren't forcing you into a structure that is going to be uncomfortable for you and that you're going to be fighting against the whole time. And that's kind of our solution to that, is like, yeah, you might have to take 5 minutes to set a tally up in a specific way that works for you, but then you don't have to do, then it's set up and you configured it and it's how you want it to be. Like in counting calories, maybe you don't care about like that it was a Snickers or that it was a steak. Like you just care what the number was, right? So you could actually just have a food tally, one tally. Food, I ate food, and then it prompts you and says, okay, numeric value, and you say it was 300 calories, and then you're done, and you don't actually need to mess with the whole crazy calorie counting app.
So
Yeah.
Does it connect to Twitter when you're?
Not yet, but it will actually. We're working right now on external data sources, and social media is one category. Fitness tracking apps like Fitbit, et cetera, Apple Health, that's another category. Had some people earlier asking me for stock data, so cool. I'll put stocks in there, that's cool. Weather data, people are also really interested in being able to pull in. So the same peer-to-peer thing that makes collaborative tallies possible makes it very easy for us to just go grab some data and pull it into your phone. Does that answer your question?
So to
Maybe.
pull it in, if you want to maintain privacy, so
Yeah.
you want to.
So, right, we have no control over what Twitter does with your Twitter data, unfortunately. But once you pull it into our app, it's private. It's not going anywhere. I guess that's it. Thank you.